I believe I can skip self-introductory right now and just dive into the introduction of Kotlin Notebook and IntelliJ Platform integration instead. On the screen, I do not have any presentation and slides, but the IntelliJ IDEA in version 2025.23, so it's already 0.3. With Kotlin Notebook file opened, prepared for this presentation. So I will just scroll and click and tell what is here and what you can do. But let's start with an introduction what Kotlin Notebook is. Probably many of you already heard about Jupyter Notebook, and it is pretty often associated with data science and all the rocket science stuff. So yeah, it's all about one big file in which you can write content, code, and markdown, and mix that and present data. And that was the Jupyter Notebook works with Python. Here, since 2025.1, I believe, I don't really remember, we have also, or even earlier, Kotlin Notebook available for everyone. So in IntelliJ IDEA, having Kotlin support already present, you can start using notebooks. And notebooks are a bunch of cells, markdown cells, for example. So I believe, yeah, you can see me clicking on specific cells and they are highlighted. So this is a single cell in which we can type markdown, and it is eventually rendered as a markdown output. Links, formatting, everything is here. So this is already great for creating maybe README files, but divided into cells and mixed with code cells. Here is code cell. If we double click on that, it's already in its natural form because this is code. But comparing to markdown cell, well, we have on the left side display button. So as soon as we hit it, it will render the code, the response from the code. So here, print line printed something to the standard output, std out, and here it is. But we do not need to print something explicitly. Cell is taking the latest the latest statement from the code block as an answer, and it renders it automatically. So here we have just number 44, 42, and here it comes. The next one, x equals 10, 20. So in a result, we get 30 already. So yeah, the latest statement is taking into consideration here. So yeah, we have different output types. String, rendered as a string. List, which is converted into a list with square brackets. Data classes can be also nicely rendered. And maps, and many, many more. So everything that can be, well, it's not exactly to string, but they are providing with multiple mappers to make it look nice. So yes, markdown cells, code cells, and they can be written down in different order. And about order, it is really important to highlight that order matters, but not order of cell's placement, but their execution time. So let's make it more visible. Here we have declared a message variable in the first cell, and in the second cell we can already use it. If we will start with this cell, the message variable will not be here with us yet, and yeah, we'll get error. Exactly. How we can use it for some better purposes, let's say. If we define mutable variable counter here, in next cell we can increase it. So yeah, it is 1 right now. If we hit it multiple times, it is increasing even more. So the order matters, and execution order matters, because if we'll have just placement order, that most likely will stay to be set to 1, but yeah. Later we can reset it and set to 100, but if we get back, we are already starting with 100 and going up. Yeah. So far, in our cells, we were using the latest statement to present output and printing stuff to the standard output. We have more options still, which are repeating the basic approach here. Again, only second line is displayed, but if we like to print more, we can use a display helper here. So when running the cell that contains of 3 display invocations, all of them will be printed as an output of the cell. And yeah, display is only to print something in a raw form, like plain text. But we have more. We can render HTML as an output, even emoji and CSS styles can be used here. Next, JSON, because JSON, we don't really want to display everything in one line. With JSON helper, we can have it pretty nicely formatted. Next to that, obviously, it's easy to achieve. We can display images with display. And this is not only image that we have stored locally. This is something that we create dynamically. So with AWT, Java AWT library, we can render this nice image. And we can, with double click, zoom it in. Having that already in place, it's easy to request something from the internet with URI. And it gets fetched and displayed for us. Okay, but so far we've been using some basic libraries, basic classes available in JVM. It is still possible to attach more than just more libraries, using, for example, stuff from Maven Central. With the add file depends on syntax, we can simply specify Maven coordinates of a specific library, and it will get downloaded to our local cache, and from now on we can start using some external libraries to do not invent the wheel from the scratch. And yeah, pretty print again. Next to this file depends on syntax, we can use a Gradle-like syntax. So here we have the use helper function, in which we can still define repositories and dependencies that we know from Gradle. So this is pretty useful for folks already working with plugin development, because this is how you can get some dependencies you are already using in your code into this playground. Yeah, the third possibility for including some external libraries is using so-called line magics. Line magics start with the percentage character and use candy. Candy is a visualization library that we'll use in a second. So yeah, from now on it is already loaded, and we'll simply start using it, but by invoking the plot DSL and passing some basic data there. So here it is already rendered as a nice chart, which is not static but actually dynamic. So as you can see, when highlighting something, clicking around, it is already interactive. I'm not fluent in Candy, but for sure, if you are curious how to use this particular library, we have documentation provided in Kotlin Notebook and Kotlin documentation pages, so it's easy to Google that. So yeah, many of magic words, but there is one that you should remember, and this is a great starting point for exploring Kotlin Notebook, and this is the help command. When we trigger it, we'll get basic information about the JVM version and all kernels and Kotlin versions and available commands. So yeah, help is mentioned in the first place. And then there are, again, class path and vars commands, which we'll explore right now. What is class path? This one is printing all jars or all libraries that we have currently in the current Kotlin Notebook class path. So we can figure out what is available, what we can use in code cells. So if we try to search for candy, as you can see, it is already here because we have loaded this library few cells earlier, and it is in time growing as soon as we execute more and more code. For figuring out what we also have available for our cells, there is this vars, so variable state command, which is rendering some variables names that we defined or were defined by libraries we loaded. And for example, here we have this counter set to 106, and this is the current state. If we increase it again and call vars again, this value will change. And yeah, before I will not print help again, just going a bit above. The next section is magics, so those use magics. There is a full list of all features that are available for you when working with Kotlin notebooks and supported libraries. So Candy is somewhere here, but we have multiple other libraries for working with data, with images, HTTP APIs, datetime. There is also Cook for AI agents, and so and so. And those are, in most cases, not only a set of libraries loaded from Maven Central, for example, but also additional DSL helpers, functions, variables, crafted especially for Kotlin Notebook purposes. One of those integrations, probably, okay, we can see it here, is IntelliJ Platform. And this is something I would like to showcase you as well, how we can use it for plugin development purposes, for creating proof of concepts. So this is where the magic begins. As soon as we execute the use IntelliJ platform, we will get this error. And this is something that I wanted to show you because Kotlin Notebook is executed in a running JVM. So it is creating some, let's call it JVM environment, in which the code is simply executed. So on the top of Kotlin Notebook, you can see a dropdown with an option of run in a separate process. If you click it, there is another option, run in IDE process. And what does that mean? Well, we will simply start running the code in the current IDE. So again, when we load this integration, it is already correctly loaded. How to prove this is the current IDE? As mentioned before, the IntelliJ Platform integration is exposing not only dependencies, libraries, so dependency on the current IDE. So under the hood, it is resolving the location of the current IDE, going into the lib directory and picking proper jars in the same way the IntelliJ Platform Gradle plugin is doing for development. So this is exactly the same approach, but using the current IDE, so nothing extra is downloaded. And it is exposing some basic global variables like product info or IDE path. So here you can see I'm running the IntelliJ IDEA in version 2025.3 with my local installation path in applications. Okay, but the question number one is always how to get the current project. To make things simpler, we are exposing current project helper. So as soon as we run it, we can see the project name. So this is exactly the same project that we are using for showcasing this integration. Its location and project file, etc., etc. So this is a regular project instance that you know it from plugin development, because it is exactly the same variable. We can try printing it here. So yeah, this is how it's rendered to string. If we start typing here, yeah, you can see a well-known fields available in this project instance. Easy pose, message bus, and everything that is basically available for plugin development. So yeah, why it's revolutionary. Let me just render again this. I'm not sure if the font isn't too small. I will read it aloud anyway. So yeah, you can use Kotlin Notebook with IntelliJ Platform integration for making things way faster, because in a traditional way, you need to create a project from template or wizard within the IDE, adjust plugin XML file, build a plugin, run IDE with the run IDE task, test changes, and repeat the cycle. And it takes time, especially when you work on UI. With Kotlin Notebook, you just need to use IntelliJ Platform instruction, write the code below, execute the cell, and see the results immediately. And yeah, reiteration is way shorter comparing to regular approach. And what about seeing the results immediately? Above, I've explained that we can render plain text or HTML or images right below the code cell. Here, note that some code is red, and this is by purpose. We can render also UI components. So when we run it, we'll see that there is some unresolved reference to columns and text functions. With Alt-Enter, we can import missing stuff, run it again. So below, we can see rendered UI interface, using UI interface, rendered UI, which is dynamic, still dynamic. So yeah, those fields are responsive. We can start typing here. Buttons are executing the code. So here we are defining a button to shake the IDE. And yeah, this funny helper will shake our IDE. Yep. I believe it is visible during the presentation. So yeah, we can see results right away. So here, run it again and shake it again. So yeah, the feedback loop is really short here. Kotlin Notebook is also respecting the EDT, so event dispatch thread, because some actions related to UI are supposed to be executed in UI. And here we are using the run in EDT helper to invoke something in EDT. Simple as that. And yep, it shows dialog, which we can close, and everything works. We can still adjust that to error icon, and from now on it will be error. Okay, but you may say that this is not enough for plugin development. That's true. We can still do way more than that. We can register actions. So here I have a snippet for registering action in the current IDE. Okay, that's unexpected but expected. I'm on EAP release still. But here, as you can see, we can search for this action already. So it was correctly registered in IDE, and it displays, it is executing this show info message with the text you can see in code cell. Yeah. Next, loading plugins. By default, we start with just a plain IntelliJ Platform basic libraries, which are basic, and we can still load bundled plugins, bundled modules, or plugins that are currently installed in the IDE. So we are not playing here with resolving something extra from Marketplace, but instead to make it solid and do not play with your current IDE permanently, we are referring to the current state of IDE. So here we are loading Java plugin, Kotlin plugin, and Git for IDEA. Still, everything that I have installed, even third party, can be loaded here. To do that, we can simply print all the stuff using Plugin Manager Core, because this is the starting point for all the knowledge about plugins. Yeah, with another use magic data frame, we can have all the output in a pretty nice format with cells, and we can explore all plugins available for us for development. What to do with that? We can load, for example, AI Assistant plugin, register an extension point it is exposing. So here is some chat agent extension point name, and in the actual, okay, we have a lot here. In actual plugin, we can use our custom implementation. And yeah, let's try it out. And it is responding to us with the answer that I expect to have. Okay, but we are modifying everything. Should we restart IDE? No, we just need to restart kernel. Everything is back to red, but let me just quit it. Everything we added to IDE is also gone. So all the implementation we did got disposed. So we need to load the IntelliJ platform again. And this magic happened because, well, thanks to Disposer. To quickly showcase you that, this code created tool window. When we expected. Well, with notebook disposable, things should get disposed immediately, meaning restarting applies some additional effects, and we can use disposer register to remove something from your current instance. Okay. Here, best practices to summarize everything. Restart kernel after modifying project codes, run everything again, and remember that execution order matters. So if you rerun everything at once with this button, remember that it will be executed as it was placed. Run in EDT for threading and UI operations, and remember EDT doesn't forgive. To clean up your mess, you're supposed to use notebook disposable, and basically use load plugins for loading third-party or bundled plugins and modules. Everything is limited to your current state, current IDE, and basically, yeah. This notebook file is not published yet, but we can do it with the create gist button, and I will do it right now. So yeah, we can view it in browser. It will still be rendered properly in browser as we can see it here. But instead of pasting that right in the chat, I will just ask to create a QR code image with following link. So yeah, it is generating some code cells. As we can see, it's using ZXING library. And yes, let's accept that. Run it one by one for to make sure it works properly. But okay. What a surprise. This morning it was working correctly. So this is probably yeah, how demos are supposed to work. Render QR. I have it again. Was that render? Okay, this B was here with us. We are almost there. Yep, it is here. So from now on, you can scan the QR code, but I will share the link in the chat anyway. So thank you very much.
That was lovely. Thank you very much, Jakub.
Thank you.
So I think we should have some questions. If not, we can principally just discuss the implications here. We have 5 minutes left. So I'm sure most of you will know Python notebooks, the concept of notebooks, and basically doing work and documenting it in the cells between and then running cells, right, is really, really old. I think it goes back to 1988. Wolfram Mathematica had it first. I'm sure at least that's what Stephen Wolfram always claims, but I'm pretty sure it was one of the first instances. And basically the success of notebooks are pretty obvious because we see working on prototypes and doing quick work in Python and a Jupyter notebook is basically everyone knows about that. And as you saw on the presentation of Jakub, it's really nice if we have the same thing where we can basically work with the IDE in a notebook and evaluate code that directly affects the tool you're working in. And this could be a very nice addition to prototyping features and stuff for plugin development. So does anyone have a question about that? Otherwise, I would go ahead and ask one. So, Jakub, one of the things you did was all using these magic things, these use things and stuff, right?
Right.
So, are they documented already correctly? Because I haven't checked the documentation. I just saw some examples and played around with examples.
Yes, they are. If I would search for Kotlin Notebook, use magics, probably they will appear. So yeah, basically use documentation or
Okay.
AI for 2 times.
Yeah. So the other question I would have is, so we saw that it's pretty hot right now, and not everything works, and it's kind of expected because it's pretty new. So so as a normal user, right? Can I use it right now to prototype stuff? What do I have to do? Do I have to
Well,
use an EAP version, and so on and so forth?
the blog post I have posted in the chat was based on the 2025.2 already. So since that version, everything should be already stable. Now I'm using EAP release, so something changed overnight because I'm still on the nightly build. But with the 2025.3 release, again, we expect to have everything to work solid. So yeah, basically get the latest stable IDE, create new notebook with file new Kotlin notebook, or even in the welcome screen, there is this on the left side projects, settings, and also Kotlin notebooks. So I can use that as a starting point as well.
That sounds good.
So yeah, if IDE is stable, Kotlin notebook and IntelliJ Platform integration is supposed to be stable as well.
So that basically leads directly to the call to action to the audience, right? So please try it out, play around it with this. Tell us what doesn't work. Tell us what works. Give us nice examples, right? So that we know basically what to work on and what doesn't work and what works and how you want to use that.
Exactly. And if we have still a few minutes, well, the lunch break will be a bit shorter, but I can show you that. Well, in the blog post and documentation, we have this repository linked, and there are examples. And yeah, in those examples, there is a bunch of code. I'll just run it. Keep your fingers crossed it works. No.
Yeah, but we got a question to just gloss over the error. I know Robert. Okay, so first let's comment on Robert's. So Robert already said. Robert said that Donald Knuth actually introduced literate programming, and it was called C Web and C Weave, and it was for C, where you could basically combine it with your LaTeX code for documenting your code. And actually, that was the very first plugin I worked on in probably 2005 to 2010. I'm not sure. So, but we got a question from Roman, who asked, "What is the expected workflow of the production of the prototypes written in the notebook as a plugin that can be shared with others?"
That's a good question. Well, we can still prototype something in the notebook, even if it is just a simple UI or implementation of extension points. And then having this code, we can start copy pasting it to actual project. So you can use plugin template of ours hosted on GitHub, or create a new project from IDE Wizard and move the code in proper places. That part, I hear that can be tricky, but with AI agents, some people are skeptics, some are not, but they are actually really helpful in working on something that is already in place. So you are not making something up, but you have the scaffold, you have the code you want to use, and you can mix it and put in proper in the production ready version as a standalone plugin instead of Kotlin Notebook scaffold.
I think one of the two major points where this could be helpful that I see right now is first, prototype something quickly, try out a feature or an extension point and see how it behaves and what you need to do to implement it correctly. That's the first application. And the second one is we could share examples pretty easy about how to use features with a Kotlin notebook. Because as Jakub said, you don't need a whole project. You just need a small notebook that you can evaluate directly in your IDE. And then you see what happens and how a feature is used, right?
Yeah, exactly. And because we are expecting to have Compose UI available soon, next year, I will, I hope Kotlin Notebook will catch up with that as well. So as a result, we'll be able to render Compose UI immediately and share that with others. So whenever a team will work on plugin internally or for to make it public in marketplace, they will be, well, it will be easier to share the knowledge and prototype interface, for example, with this brand new technology UI framework.